First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem, Yahushai Bashem, Rakakwadash. Yahweh is to this world, ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai is to this world, ignorantly calls Jesus. Bahashim means in the name, Rakah means spirit, and Qudash means holy. And that's on the Paleo Hebrew. I also want to give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. And today's video, breaking news going into how the United States, Donald Trump, have bombed the nuclear sites in Iran. Okay, and this came out roughly, 2 hours ago. And it was an absolute bombshell. Absolute bombshell. Tonight's strike was one for the history books. Donald Trump says right there. And ultimately, this is a prophecy being fulfilled right in front of our eyes. Exactly how the prophets, the men of Great Millstone, and those that teach the same doctrine, the prophets have been talking about how everything was going to start from Israel. Okay, the small nation, the least of the flock, drawing out the big boys to go fight. So, I'm going to read a little bit of what this guy, DJ Trump, had to say. Because he came up on Twitter and he said, he gave a address to the nation. But there's a specific tweet right here. He said, "We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There's not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter." And one thing that just came to mind when I read this is that he said, now is the time for peace. And first scripture that comes to mind, if you know, you know. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3. "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." Right? So we know the end, that we know the prophecies, we know the story. And the fact that this guy is talking about peace, we understand that the complete contrary is coming. Utter destruction. And if you read the previous verse, it says, "For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night." And that's exactly how everything has gone down in the last couple weeks. Okay, literally in the blink of an eye. Okay, the whole world has been turned upside down. And, it's so beautiful because there's this quote by Vladimir Lenin. He said, "There are decades where nothing happens, but there are weeks where decades happen." And we are in one of those weeks where, hey, look at look at the news right here. Massive missile alerts continue across Israel. Okay, Iran bombing like crazy right now. Because here it is, Iran has repeatedly warned it would hit U.S. forces and interests if its nuclear sites were attacked. American bases in Qatar, the UAE, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia all lie within range of Iran's short-range missiles. Thousands of rockets could be launched without even relying on long-range systems. Tehran may also try to close the Strait of Hormuz, threatening global energy markets and shipping. Trump said that Iranian retaliation will lead to an even greater U.S. strike, but Tehran has made clear it won't just forget what happened. Okay, and Iran essentially said, I saw it on another account. Okay, Iran came out saying that, hey, anybody, that is American is now a target. So, we're turning up, man. We're turning up, and this is the prophecy that is being fulfilled. This prophecy, I feel like we go over it damn near every single time I make a video. Weekly, I'm going into this prophecy because it's literally so relevant as to what's taking place. So Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 45, it says, "Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them." And that's what we're seeing right now, is that the least of the flock is drawing out Babylon, aka America. right? And who are the least of the flock? These Israelis. Okay, they are drawing out America to World War III, and it looks like they finally got America on that hook. Okay, America finally got hooked and hit that first strike. And one thing about fishing is that once you got that hook on the fish, that fish is not going anywhere. How things are looking right now, there's no turning down. There's no playing this out and peace talks. It looks like the Lord is finally turning up, that dial, and we're going to start really seeing these prophecies jump. And the first thing that came to my mind, I was talking with the brother, is that if we see these war talks going down, that means that the chip has to be right around the corner. That means that they're really going to start pushing that digital currency and moving everything to paperless. And it lines up perfectly because recently, while everybody's focused on the East, on those wars, they passed the Genius Bill, okay, the Genius Act, which is essentially allowing financial institutions to create their own stable coins, which is digital money. So everything is lining up exactly how the prophecies say. Okay, before the massive nuclear war, we have the mark of the beast, which is the chip, and that if you don't take that, hey, you're going to be ultimately excluded from society and deemed a terrorist. Okay, those are the times that are upon us. And it says in verse 46, "At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard amongst the nations." Right, and that's ultimately the end game of this whole thing, is that America is going to be an absolute desert. Okay, America is going to be a wasteland. We could read that here in verse 39. "Therefore the wild beasts of the desert with the wild beasts of the island shall dwell there, and the owls shall dwell therein, and it shall be no more inhabited forever, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof, saith Yahweh, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein." Right, so this place is going to be a desert that only the desert animals inhabit. Okay, it's going to be unlawful for any human to inhabit this landmass called America in the near future. So whether you believe it's going to happen or not, it's going to happen. And that's just the truth of the matter. So, hey, stay on point, because we're about to enter times where your faith is going to have to be on 144%. 100% is not going to be enough. You're going to have to be on 144% straight faith. Because when they tell you, you can't do this, you can't do that unless you take the chip, unless you bow down to the image of the beast, then we're going to really see, who you deal with. If you're dealing with the Lord or you're dealing with Satan. So, stay on point. And yeah, hopefully this was edifying, quick vid, straight to the point. With that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rakak Wadash, and double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Shalom to you, like Shalom.